Monday and feeling a lot more positive this week. If you've already seen week 4's video, it wasn't a great week in general. However, this week I'm starting with a much more positive mindset, and already on Monday I did 8 miles. So on the plan was meant to be a long run, however I just thought that there's no way in trying to attempt a long run when I wasn't feeling too great last week, and I averaged out at just under 8:20 pace, so I was happy with that. At times I still felt a little fatigued, so I'm not sure if that's down to last week or just the fact that I haven't done anything. That was like the first run back, but I'm really pleased with how it went, and looking forward to keeping this positive mindset for the rest of the week, and just hoping I'm just going to ease myself back into it gently. I'm not going to overdo it too much and overload, because that's the problem I think at the moment, is that I'm doing not enough and then too much each week, and it's not a steady progression. I also went to the gym and did a 30-minute workout and just did a mixture of like upper body and lower body weights, tried to put them together to make it a bit functional and just to get my body moving once again, just to get back into the swing of things. So I only did half an hour before some of my clients. Again, I didn't want to overload it too much. I'm just trying to ease myself back in gently this week. Tuesday, intervals time. I'm definitely feeling much better this week because I'm not dreading this session as much as what I normally would do. Today is Willen Lake. As always, this place is so versatile. It's good flat lake, however, we also have the added bonus of Peace Pagoda Hill. So this is the Peace Pagoda. This is also part of our park run course, but you come down it. Today I'm doing some uphill jogs. New York Marathon is known to be a bit hillier than other courses, so adding some hill reps is going to be perfect for this race. Today I'm doing 12 lots of 1 minute uphills, and I added it to my watch using the Garmin Connect app. So on the screen right now should be a screenshot of how I set it up. It's really easy to do, and you can send it to your watch. Just makes it easier, so I don't have to look at my watch, don't have to keep an eye on the minutes, the time or anything like that. And then the recovery is on the way down. I get to choose today whether I want to jog it or walk it. So I think I'm going to start with I'm going to try and ease into the reps, not push it too hard to start off with. Just try and, because this is more, as well as like it's working on like posture and form today, so definitely about like driving the knees high. Let me just check my watch. So about driving the knees, engaging the glutes, working those muscles a little bit harder than normal, and just trying to have a good form. So try not to slouch over, thinking about keeping tall and upright. They say like pulling string from the top of your head. So that's how today's session is going to go. Fingers crossed I enjoy this one. I've got my aftershocks as always. I find that on intervals I work really well with music, and then on not shorter runs but easier runs, podcasts, because it just helps me like switch off a little bit from what I'm doing, but music really helps to motivate. So 12 times 1 minute uphill, walk or jog, recovery down. Halfway through, so 6 reps done just on the recovery down, and running uphill is windy, so I've got the wind and the hills to contend with, so I'm not worrying about pace, worrying about my form, and every time I hit the top I am sort of hitting around the same point, so I know that effort wise I'm doing the same amount each time, which is good consistency we're looking for here as well. Hill reps done, and I've just finished the warm up, finished the cool down, and on my last rep, the like Tuesday club intervals, guys are all running past me, and they were going up the Peace Pagoda as well. They were going to the other side to do zigzag intervals, so it really helped push me on my last rep, and I believe it was my quickest one. I mean, I was always going to try and push it in the last one anyway, with it being the last one. But yeah, it was just really interesting. It gives you that little bit of extra motivation to push that little bit harder when there are people around you. So working in groups for intervals can be really, really, really good. However, I have to do a lot of my training on my own. So I I did use the train with a group on a Tuesday, but I don't like training in the evenings, and I found that sometimes the targets were a bit unachievable, so it wasn't very good for me. But just seeing a group of people today, it just goes to show that like when you do races and stuff, you can always push that a little bit harder because you've got people around you. So really pleased with that. 2 good sessions down already, and it's Tuesday. Yay! Midweek update. Yesterday, Wednesday, I didn't run. So Wednesday in the last few weeks has been the day that's been the day of the week that I felt at my worst in terms of like tiredness. So I always have a busy morning on Wednesdays. I had a gap between a couple of clients, so I just did 20 minutes on the bike doing some admin to shake my legs out, and then I always teach core classes on a Wednesday evening. So no running on Wednesday, and I think we were up to about 16 miles for the week already, just from Monday and Tuesday. Today is Thursday. It's now getting on. It's like 4:15 in the afternoon. I've been in the studio this morning. I've been at my desk for the afternoon. I went out and had a meeting. I've been putting off my run. Now I've got a couple of options. I'm either going to have to drive up to Willen Lake, which is like one of our local lakes. It's featured in a lot of my videos just because it's going to be flat, or do I risk it and just go out and just try and explore a different route, maybe get lost and go for a steady run. The target today is just to do like a mile warm up and then just do some steady miles. I have got a tempo run on the plan, but I want to do a tempo park run on Saturday, and I haven't done any tempo runs in a while, so I just want to ease myself back in a bit gently rather than like pushing it too hard to start off with. So I think that's the plan. There's a route that I've mapped out which is like 6 or 7 miles, so I'm just going to see how it goes. I don't want to over push myself. And then tomorrow I'm looking forward to getting back into yoga. So like when I said last week that I wasn't feeling too good, I put it on Instagram, and one of my clients was like, well, why don't you go back and do like yoga? You really enjoyed the hot yoga before. So I've booked some class passes, and I'm going to go to a lunchtime session tomorrow. So Friday's normally rest day, but I'm going to use that as sort of like active recovery. So I'm looking forward to get back to that, and I'll update you. I'm sure it's going to be really hard tomorrow because I've been out of action with yoga for a little while, but look forward to doing something different and just mixing it up. So this is Vimto squash. Now, if you know about that, then you know. This is a true representation of my hair right now. It's literally just a ball of sweat. Update on my run. I'm very pleased with today's effort. I will put it like that. So I started out, and because I went out with the mindset of, right, I'm going to give this a good go. My first mile was actually like quite steady pace. Ended up at about 7:10, 7:11. So that's quite close to, you know, half marathon pace effort. So I was like, okay, I'll just keep rolling with this. Now, in the first couple of miles, it's quite frustrating. I had to stop a couple of times for like roads and cars to go past, which kind of broke my rhythm in places. But that so that's always hard, like when it's in your head, like, oh, I've had to stop. But apart from that, the next mile I think was about 7:04, and then the next 2 miles were a lot harder. I was just running into wind then for the next 2 miles. I could feel my heart rate getting higher, and I could feel I was putting in a lot more effort than I should have really been putting in. Then I think the next mile was about 6:50 something, and then mile 4 was 6:40 something. So happy with the pace itself, but the effort level that was required to get that pace, I wasn't really happy with. So decided to not call it quits, but I decided to cut that part of the run there at the end of mile 4. I ended up average pace of 6:58 minute per mile after that. So pleased with that. And then I decided to just like walk for a little bit, let my heart rate come down, and then jog the rest of the way home. Looking at the stats, it was averaged at just over 8-minute miles for the jog home. Oh my god, what's this part to realise. So my heart rate was still quite high on the way home, but obviously that was probably down to the first few miles. So in total 7.1 miles, I believe, for the day, and really happy with that we it's the first time that I've done like a tempo based run solo for a while. Like, I've done tempo efforts in races or at park run, but I'm just pleased that I've been able to go out and do that on my own. It's more a confidence thing today. Rest day tomorrow and yoga, and then park run on Saturday. Back home from my long run, and I am so happy with that. Sorry, I've got a baby wipe, just wiping myself down a little bit. Yeah, that was just, the feeling right now is brilliant. I don't think I've recorded anything really since Thursday. No, I haven't actually. Really poor of me. So just an update on the last few days. Friday was a rest from running. However, I went back to hot yoga, which was incredible. So the studios I go to is Sweat Studios. They're based within the hub within Milton Keynes, which is like the central part. And it's a hot studio. So they pump heat into the room. And I love it. So a few people that like go on their first time, it takes quite a lot getting used to, but I just find that the heat, it really relaxes you. It then helps with your muscles, so you become a bit more flexible. And it's just, although it is a workout, the release that you get from just like both the physical and like the mental side of things, like I love it because I can just switch off for an hour and you're just working with yourself and your body. So I absolutely loved that. Saturday's update, which was park run, I headed to Willen Lake, which is called Milton Keynes Park Run, and Willen Lake has been featured many times in this video so far. Although I didn't go on Thursday, I went Tuesday for my intervals and Saturday park run. Park run, I made sure that when I got there I did a warm-up beforehand. I just think that is so important. I never used to do it before a park run. If I'm doing an easy one, I don't really bother unless I want some extra mileage, but if I'm going at a faster pace than normal, definitely warming up. The idea was just to see how I got on. It wasn't like a pace expectation, but I wanted to do an honest run at a pace that was comfortably uncomfortable. So basically kind of a tempo-ish run. I do find it easier at park run because there's more people around you, it pulls you along, you've got other things to think of. So if you are ever wanting to do a bit of speed work or tempo like pace, I would always recommend park run. It's far easier. Milton Keynes is not the easiest course, but I got quite near to the front, I pushed on, and quite early on I was sitting behind what I believed was first lady. I didn't know if there was anyone else in front of us actually, but there was a girl in front of me and I kind of used her to sit on her shoulder. I think I pulled up quite close to her at one point, like within the first kilometre, and she kind of saw me and kicked on a little bit. But the first mile ticked over and I think about 6:38. After that we then have like the zigzags, which are up. So the second mile was always a little slower. There was a little bit of wind into mile 2, and I think that was more like a 6:52 second mile. And then by that point I was like tucked in behind a group of people that I know. And then for some reason at the end of kilometre 3 I just found a second wind and I was off, and that mile was about 6:40 something as well. So I was having to work a lot harder, but then like towards the end it was, you know, I kind of know, I've done that part run so many times, I know when I can kind of start winding it up a little bit towards the end. And then the last bit, like, entered the 5s for the sprint finish. So I was happy with that. I was 27th overall, first lady, time was 21:06. So very pleased with that. That's like still 2 minutes away from a PB. Obviously there was no intention of going to PB at that on Saturday at all, but just happy with how that went. It was very hot, very sweaty park run, but pleased with the overall result and a good solid session there. I think I did a cool down as well, so it ended up just being about 5 miles for the day and just a good run. So moving on to Sunday. And I'm just literally so happy with how that long run just went. I have the longest run that I did was like 2 weeks ago, which was the half marathon, and with like
a warm up beforehand, but today I managed 16 miles, which was incredible, and I really put that down to going out with a friend. I had planned this with a friend a little while back, and she's a triathlete, her name's Sarah, and she's training for Snowdonia Marathon. So we said that we'd do some miles together. We don't live too far away, so we ran. She planned out a route and we ran to meet each other, and then we ran, and it was great, and the miles just literally ticked off because we were just chatting and enjoying it, and we got caught in the most horrendous downpour. We were around Caldecott Lake at the time, and it was just ridiculous. And then the sun came out, so it's been a run of all weathers, but really, really happy with that. Strava says it was harder than my usual effort, but I think it was down to the fact that we were running at a decent pace and chatting at the same time, so I always think that it makes it a little hard. There we have it. What week are we in now? Week 5 update. And I'm very sorry that it's very sort of sit down and chatting. So it's more like a journal this week of my training and how I've been getting on. But as you can see, it has gone well. Woohoo! Yay, a week's gone well for once. But yeah, you can see by my smile that I'm really pleased with how training's gone, and I've just enjoyed it this week, which is all that I've wanted for so long. I've been craving this moment just to actually have enjoyed it. So thumbs up from me, it's good. I did say at the start of the week that I would take it easy and ease back into things. It did end up being a 45 mileage week, but I'm going with it. And we'll just have to see next week the onset from that and whether it's okay or not. Next week's training is a little different. It's week 6 we're going into. I'm away for the weekend, which means no running. So I've only got 4 days to train, which is Monday to Thursday. I'm not going to put any pressure on myself to overtrain, but we'll just see how it goes from there. But a good solid week, a good long run. So next week, no long run, another long run after that, and then I'm hitting a 20-mile run, but a race, but I'm treating it as a training run. So I hope everyone else's training is going well. Let me know how you're all getting on. Let me know what you want to see next week, because obviously week 6, it's just only 4 days of training. If there's anything else you want to see about preparation for long runs, food that I'm eating, how I'm fueling, workouts in the gym, just let me know. But thanks again for watching this one. I'm sorry that's a bit of a longer one, but I hope you're all well too, and I'll see you next week for week 6 of New York Marathon training.